The most critical point in Abraham's history was the sacrifice of his one and only son. There are disputations between the Jews as well as the Christians on the one hand and the Muslims on the other hand as regards which of the two sons, Ishmael or Isaac, was presented for sacrifice. Based on the facts in the Holy Qur'an Chapter 37 verse 100 to 113, Ishmael was born before Isaac. Moreover, it was Ishmael that was presented for this sacrifice. Contrarily, the Bible depicts a concocted storyline that creates an illusionary article for the deceived. The untold truth in Genesis chapter 22 verses 1 to 19. An investigative analysis of Genesis chapter 22 clearly depicts how the scriptural facts have been overlaid by the monks, the scribes, the priests, and the self-imposed apostles, which presented Isaac as the one and only son in Genesis chapter 22 verse 2. This is contradictory to the available facts in the Bible itself. 1. Hagar was a legitimate wife of Abraham. Genesis chapter 16 verses 3 to 4. 2. Ishmael was born when Abraham was 86 years old. Genesis chapter 16 verses 15 to 16. 3. Isaac was born 14 years after Ishmael and when Abraham was 100 years old. Genesis chapter 21 verses 4 to 5. 4. As part of the covenant, the first to be established was the circumcision of the males in Abraham's household. Genesis chapter 17 verse 10. Abraham and Ishmael were circumcised the same day when Abraham was 99 years old while Ishmael was 13 years old. Genesis chapter 17 verses 24 to 25. Isaac was born a year after and was circumcised on the 8th day when Abraham was 100 years old. Genesis chapter 21 verses 4 to 5. 5. Ishmael was the one and only son of Abraham, 14 years before the birth of Isaac, his second son. 6. So therefore, Ishmael was presented for the sacrifice by his father, Abraham, and not his younger brother Isaac. Manipulation of the Bible. After a careful juxtaposition of the accessible facts in the Bible and the Holy Qur'an, it becomes apparent how the Bible had been manipulated to favor the interest of the Jewish and the Christians. The inconsistencies in the Bible provide sufficient reason to reject the claims in it. However, the Muslims have often asserted that it was Ishmael, the one and only son of Abraham, before the birth of Isaac, that was presented for the sacrifice. Moreover, the biblical errors can be traced to the so-called priests, monks, scribes, and self-imposed apostles. The following verses in both the Bible and the Holy Qur'an justify the Muslims' claims how the Bible had been corrupted. Jeremiah chapter 8 verses 8 to 9. How can you say, we are wise, and the law of the Lord is with us? Behold, the first pen of the scribe certainly works falsehood. The wise men are ashamed, they are confused and trapped. Behold, they have rejected the word of the Lord. So what wisdom do they have? Mark chapter 7 verses 6 to 9 and 13. Jesus answered and said to them, well did Isaiah prophesy of you hypocrites, as it is written in Isaiah 29 verse 13. These people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. And in vain they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandment of God, you hold the tradition of men, the washing of pitchers and cups, and many other such things you do. Jesus said to them, all too well, you reject the commandment of God, that you may keep your tradition, making the word of God of no effect through your tradition which you have handed down, and many such things you do. Quran chapter 2, verse 79. Then woe to those who write the book with their own hands, and then say, this is from Allah, to purchase with it a little price. Woe to them for what their hands have written, and woe to them for that they end thereby. Quran chapter 3, verse 78. And verily, among them, the Jews and the Christians, is a party who distort the book with their tongues as they read, so that you may think it is from the book, but it is not from the book. They say, this is from Allah, but it is not from Allah. And they, the Jews and the Christians, speak a lie against Allah, while they know it.